We made it. We made it. Whole year we went through. Just about every week we had our learning together. And let's give a little thought about when we started this year in Elul in September, and we went through how much more we know now than we knew before, how much we're closer to Hashem than we were before, and how much more knowledge we picked up. So Baruch Hashem, I think it was a very successful year. We have, I think, more people now than we had when we started that are participating. And I consider it a very successful year. And we're looking forward, Mr. Hashem, coming up to Elul, September, to continue to have our classes and to grow, and to grow, and to grow. So, now being the last of the season, the last moves of the season. And this week's Parsha, we're coming up to the inyan of giving tzedakah, giving to people who need. We have in the Parsha many mitzvahs, many commandments that talk about helping others. Different types of tithing. There's Truma, and the Maser Rishon, Maser Sheni, Maser Oni, which are that a Jewish person has to give from his crops a certain amount to the Kohen, the Kohanim that served in the Beis HaMikdash, who were not allowed to own much land, a little bit, not much at all, because Hashem wanted them to concentrate on serving Hashem, studying Torah, teaching Torah. So therefore, he didn't want them to own land and to be busy with taking care of growing crops. They should be able to be busy with taking care of Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, the needs of their spiritual needs. So therefore, the people who with land, the people who were not Kohanim, were obligated to give a certain amount of their crops to the Kohanim, to the priests that were serving in the Beis HaMikdash. Also, that was a small amount that they gave. To the Leviim, who also were dedicated to teaching the Jewish people Torah and mitzvahs and helping out in the Beis HaMikdash, they also had to receive their sustenance and their food from the Jewish people who grew crops in their land. The Leviim also did not didn't receive any land. Leviim got their food from the Jewish people, the farmers who grew the crops, and had to give a tenth of their produce to the Leviim. And of course, another tenth they took off to take to the Yerushalayim and eat it there in Yerushalayim. But that they kept for themselves. But they threw it for the Kohen, and they had to get Meiser to the Levi, and another Meiser called Meiser Oni, that they give it another tenth of the crops to the poor people, called Meiser Oni. So the Torah is telling us about these mitzvahs that they had. Besides the regular mitzvah that we all have to help poor people. So look at the Kohanim like they're poor people, even though they're very rich in their service to Hashem and they're teaching Klal Yisrael, but we have a mitzvah to support them since they're doing a service to the Jewish people, teaching them and taking care of the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. So we have to support them because they're doing that great thing for us. And that's one part of the giving to others. Those are serving the Beis HaMikdash. The other part is regular poor people. We have a mitzvah to help out poor people who don't have enough money to support themselves. We have to help them, keep them alive, and keep them being normal people with what they need, with their needs. How much does the person have to give from his? Let's try to concentrate now on the obligation that Jews have to give to poor people. Even not in the time of the Beis Hamikdash. The time of the Beis Hamikdash, the time of the temple, you had the other mitzvahs of supporting Kohanim Leviim. That was only when the Beis Hamikdash was standing. But now it's not standing. We have the mitzvah to support the poor people who can't make it on their own to make enough money. So we have to help them out. It's a mitzvah in the Torah. And the normal amount of what a person should give is copying the Ma'aser Ani, the amount of crops that were given to the poor people, a tenth of a person's crops, he has to give to the poor people. When the time of the Beis Hamikdash was standing, he had to give that of his crops. But today, when we're not farmers, and we don't have our own land in Eretz Yisrael, we're supposed to give a tenth of what we earn to the poor people. Maser Ksafim is called Maser of money. So the person, what we earn as the year goes on, we get our wages paid for what the work that we do. We're supposed to give a tenth of that what we're into to poor people. If a person has a windfall of money that he got, let's say he gets a tax return, he got that money back, well, then he has to give a tenth of that which he received. He didn't realize if he'll win the lottery, he'll have to give a tenth of that money. If he gets a inheritance, windfall that he got all of a sudden, he has to give a tenth of that for charity for poor people. So that's the obligation, the minimum obligation a person has to give away from what the money that he has, that he's earning, that he got unexpectedly. Let's say he wants to give more than tenth. Well, if he give more than a tenth, up to a fifth of his earnings, or what he gets, but more than a fifth he should not give, because we don't want him to become poor and he'll have to go and ask for money from other people to support his family. So we say, okay, want to do more than the obligation, want to give a fifth of your earnings to charity. Okay, it's very nice, but make sure that you have enough for your own family. Don't make them have to skimp on their needs, on their food, or their clothing, whatever it is. You want them to be happy and have a happy life, and not to be afraid to spend any money, every penny to be sacrificed to spend. So a person should make sure that his family is taken care of, and giving more than a tenth, he has to make sure that that's okay, that his family is not going to suffer from it. Of course, we're told that the Chafetz Chaim, who writes a special book on this mitzvah of Maaser, of tzedakah, chesed, that a person who is very rich, very wealthy, he doesn't have that cap on how much he gives a fifth. He's allowed to give more than a fifth, because he doesn't need that. By any way of looking at it, he has plenty of money, and for him, his family, and they're living very happily and very socially respected, and he does not need more than he has. Even if he has more than a fifth, he has plenty more than necessary for him to live nicely in his family. A person like that would have to be more generous and give more than the fifth of his earnings, of what he's making, because he's not going to suffer from it in any way of not having enough money. Or if he's approached by somebody who needs money, says the Chafetz Chaim says, You don't give more than a fifth to go and look for giving more charity. If you don't look for more, to give more than a fifth. But if people come to that person himself and say, I need money, if he can afford it, he should give more than a fifth, because a person who's needy, and he shouldn't have to say no to somebody, you have to go out and search for somebody to give it to. Well, that's a mitzvah to do. But more than a fifth, you don't have to search. But if somebody comes to the person, I need the money, please help me out, then even if it's more than a fifth, if he can't afford it, he should give him. Yes, he's bound to give him, since he doesn't need that more than that. We know that there was such a deal between the two Shvatim, Yisachar and Zvulun, the two sons of Yaakov Avinu, of Jacob, that they had this deal between them. And Yisachar was a person who was very studious, and he would stay and learn Torah the whole time. It's like today we have people studying Torah, people Kaidlu, we have young men sitting and learning Torah all day, and is supported by others. Yisachar was the Talmud Chacham, very strong, outstanding Talmud Chacham, who studied Torah day and night, and Zvulun, his brother, would support him. Even Zvulun also knew how to learn Torah aloud, we see. But they didn't put all their time into study. They went into business, and they had import-export business, Zvulun, and he and his descendants would support Yisachar, who would be able to stay in the Beis Medrash in the study hall and study and become great Torah scholars. And the Zvulun would support them and take care of all their needs. And that would be a very big mitzvah for Zvulun to help out Yisachar, that so shouldn't have to take off time and take away from his engrossing and learning and depth of learning. He'd be able to concentrate all the time without any distractions. So, and that is based, I mentioned before today, we have the same type of setup, Yisachar and Zvulun, maybe not from the same Shvatim as Yisachar and Zvulun, but we have many young men today that are learning Torah all day, and they have other people that support them, and that's a very big mitzvah. If a person supports somebody who's learning, it's as if he was learning himself. So all the people that are involved in this great idea of Yisachar Zvulun that we have today, the same idea that we have many called the Kaidlu, they're young men learning, they get married, they have families, but they're still engrossed and put all their time, instead of having a business or going to work, they go to work by studying Torah and becoming great Torah scholars and good mentors and teaching the nation of Yisrael, teaching them, writing books on the Torah, and bringing out all the ideas of Torah, and for everybody to enjoy and to study. So we have that ongoing today also, and all those who help them and are involved in supporting these people studying Torah all day have the very big mitzvah. Hashem gives that opportunity, that even though some people are not able themselves to learn Torah all day, they're not cut out for it, but they still, it's if they learn Torah all day, because if you support somebody who's learning Torah all day, it's like himself stay learning Torah all day. So it's something that's ongoing that we have Jewish people today. And the focus of giving this 10th of our earnings to needy people, it's more important to those who are studying Torah, because the whole idea of giving a 10th, like the Rabbi Chaim says, is based on the Maser Ani, the Maser the Jewish people gave to the Leviim, Maser Rishon, I should say, the Maser Rishon, the tithing of the 10th of the produce, they gave to Leviim. Leviim were ones who I mentioned before, did not have their own fields. They did not be involved in making money for themselves. They're involved in teaching the Jewish people Torah, involved in taking care of the Beis HaMikdash. And therefore they were supported by the Jewish people, which is a big schus and merit for the Jewish people supporting them. this gave them the opportunity to stay, to learn Torah, to teach Torah, and keep the Beis Hamikdash going the way it should be. So since the massive money, the tenth of our money that we earn is based on the tenth of the crops that they used to give to Levium, or those who are studying Torah and teaching Torah, therefore we should copy that by giving a tenth of the money that person earns. You should also mainly concentrate on those who are studying Torah, those people in Kollel that need the money for them to live a normal life. Of course, we have to give also people that are needy, even if they're not studying Torah, but they should give more to the studies of Torah than people not studying, because it's based on the maser that they used to give from their tithing, from their crops that they grew. They gave it to Levium who were studying the Torah. So the giving of the tenth of the money that we earn is copying tenth of the produce that they used to give, and that was given to people studying Torah. Therefore, we should put the main giving that we give, of the amount that we give, should be more to the people studying Torah than not. And that's a very big mitzvah that a person has for giving tzedakah. But we have to give to everybody, but even more to those who are studying Torah. And that was Sachar Zvulun, because Sachar was once studying Torah, and he was not distracted by having to earn his money, because Zvulun, his brother, would take care of him. When I say his brother, I mean when they were alive, but their descendants afterwards, the two Shvatim were separate Shvatim, two different branches of the Jewish people. They had their own land. Issachar lived in one place, Zvulun lived in a different place, but Zvulun would support his brother Issachar, who stayed in the study halls and their shevet to study Torah. And Zvulun would go, like I said, both import-export business that they went through, mainly supporting his brother Yisachar to study Torah. The mitzvah of giving tzedakah, the best way possible is if the person giving it doesn't know who's giving it to, the person receiving it doesn't know who's getting it from. Because then by doing that, there won't be any embarrassment for the person receiving it. The person would get a handout right straight from the giver to the taker. The giver knows who he's giving it to, the taker knows who he's getting it from. It might be embarrassing for them. Sometimes it's not possible otherwise. But if we were told by rabbis, some people used to go into the street and wrap up the money in a kerchief and walk and throw the money backwards. They shouldn't see, and the poor people would be standing on the side of the road, and they would go and get the money. And they didn't want people, they didn't want to know who's taking the money, because they didn't want to embarrass the people that I'm giving you money because I gave a charity to you. So the poor people were not embarrassed because the person who gave the money, they didn't see who was giving it to. So therefore didn't have to go through the shame of taking taking a handout of money to them. And that it could be done such a way that it's the best way to give tzedakah, of charity. Many times you have somebody who collects money for other people, the gabbai tzedakah, person in charge in the city or in a certain shul, that they collect tzedakah for people, but they keep it very quiet who's receiving it. People don't know who's giving it exactly. People don't know who the people who's receiving it, to save the people and the embarrassment of, oh, that's the poor guy, he has to take some tzedakah, and I know who he is. Oh, that poor guy. You don't know who the poor guy is. We don't know who's taking it. It's kept very secret in different organizations who they give the money to save the family from the embarrassment of taking charity. That's the best. That's the biggest mitzvah of tzedakah that we say, in a way that's not known. No embarrassment should be felt by anybody who's receiving the tzedakah. And even more than that, if a person's able, he has a business, and is able to hire a poor person who needs money, who doesn't have a job. The biggest mitzvah is to give him a job. He should earn the money, not to have to take charity. But if you're able to earn it and feel like a mensch and feel he earned his money instead of feeling like a nebuch, he has to take charity. So that's the biggest mitzvah, to hire him. And to pay him extra. There might be a certain going by this. We have the minimum wage, or what people are making according to the job, the people he hired. But this person who's very needy would be very mitzvah to pay him more, as if that's his wages. He shouldn't feel that he's taking charity. He's earning it. And that's such a good job. And now it's such a good job, I'm going to pay you even extra today because you did more than beyond your call of duty for the job that you have. They give them extra money to make them feel good, as if they earned it, even though maybe they didn't really earn that much more, but to make them feel good, like the Rambam says, that's the best thing, to give the masker to pay him more money than it's coming to him. That would be really big mitzvah. How much money do you have to give to a person? Well, the Torah says, whatever he's missing, you have to give him to, if he can afford it. Of course, people all together, they give a little bit, and the person gets up with what he needs. But we have to try our best to give a person that he needs. If you have a yosem, you have an orphan who has no father and no means of support. So the people in that city have to give enough money to put him on his feet. He's an orphan. We have to give enough money to get his collar a ring, and to rent a house, and have furniture, and to have food for him, and whatever is necessary to get him on his feet and to keep going until he's able to support himself. If he's a young yosem by himself, he'll need a little less money, but if he's a person who is getting married and has no means of support, in the meantime, we have to give him everything that's coming to himself. But interesting thing about this is that you have to give a person that what he's missing. And included in that is sus lirkavalov, Evan Ratzlafonov. If he is a person who was rich and he had a lot of money and he lived a high lifestyle and now he lost all his money, the obligation to support him, the lifestyle that he was used to. You can't say, well, now he doesn't have any money, we'll give him enough money just to get along. Like a person who doesn't have much money, he doesn't have to have meat every day, he doesn't have to have a nice car, he doesn't have to have... We say, no, if he's used to that, if he used to have a Cadillac, and used to have a chauffeur driving him, then you have to help him buy a Cadillac and have a chauffeur driving him. Because we say, suits Lirkov, what the Gemara is talking about, saying if he used to ride on a horse, and had a person leading the horse, that's what he used to all his life, and now he can't afford it anymore. To him, by missing it, is something that it's very, very difficult for him to live a poor life. He had a rich lifestyle, and now he lost his money. He's very down that he has to live like a regular person without the high lifestyle actions that he used to do. So we have to give him enough money. Of course, if you can't afford that, you don't have to buy him his Cadillac by a person himself, unless they're very rich. But to donate, to help him until he has that status of high lifestyle that he had before. If he comes and asks for money, I need money for the Cadillac, you have to give him. You need money for a chauffeur, you have to give him. Because that's that's almost like the person who needs bread to eat. He needs to have this, to him to walk the streets now like a poor person without his Cadillac. It's very, very embarrassing, very difficult for him. So that which he's missing, if that's what he used to, if he used to live in a beautiful house, that's, of course, he himself, if he'll be a real person of value, he'll decide, I'm not going to live that lifestyle. I'm not going to go to people and ask them for so much money. I'll live like a regular person. I'll get a Chevy and not a Cadillac, and I'll live in an apartment, not in a special house, a fancy house. That will be great on his part to give up the high lifestyle that he was living till now. That would be a big schus, a big mitzvah for him, to not to bother people to give more money than they give to a regular poor person. But if he's not holding by that, and he feels for his frame of mind and his relaxful type of life that he wants to live without feeling bitter or upset. He needs what he used to have, the high lifestyle, then we have to give it to him. That he's missing, every person individually, his lifestyle, we have to help them out. That's one of the laws in the Torah. It's not a rabbinical, it's a Torah law, that we give him what he's missing. Well, we have some interesting things over here, but right now it's time for just one last thing I'll mention, that are you obligated to search, to check on the person? Is he authentic? Is he really a poor person? Maybe there's a lot of money in his house. He's going around begging for food. He's a miser. He won't spend his own money. He wants to get charity from the public. So we're told that it depends. If he's coming, say, I don't have food to eat, I'm hungry, I need money for food, then we're not allowed to check on him. Because if he's hungry, if it's authentic, we can't make him, give him the tsar and the pain of waiting to get food, because we have to check on him. It comes to other things that he doesn't need them so fast. It's not clothing or different vessels or different things he needs. Then we're allowed to check on him, even not give it to him right away, and do some research and get some recommendations about him to see if he's authentic or not. The thing that it's necessary needs right away, being hungry, that we can't take time to check. But things that he can get along without for a while, and he's not gonna faint if he doesn't have fancy clothes or doesn't have fancy whatever. So then we are permitted, even supposed to, check on him to make sure that he's not fooling the public by coming looking like he's poor and acting, talking like he's poor. We're allowed to go check on him, different people who know him, know the situation. And interesting enough, if you have a poor person who is proud, he doesn't want to take tzedakah. He needs tzedakah. We see that he doesn't have enough food in the house. He doesn't have the tattered clothes he's wearing in his family. He doesn't want to take any tzedakah. No, I don't want to take it. Whatever I have, I'll live on, and I'll suffer through it. I won't take it. So a person like that, we have to go and tell him, listen, take the money. You'll pay back. It's not giving you, it's not a handout. You'll pay back when you get the money. It's a loan. It's not if he gets a loan, so then he feels different about it. He's not a never case who's taking money for nothing. He's taking in the meantime. Of course, we have in mind we're never going to ask him for the money back again, but just to get him to take it, to live like a normal person. So we tell him it's a loan in the meantime, and when you get it, you pay back. So these are some of the laws, interesting laws that we have about giving tzedakah that the Torah is talking about. And we have to take from this that tzedakah tatzal mimavas, charity saves a person from death. That means even if the Shemayim, they decree that a person is supposed to die for whatever reason, his time's up. And maybe it's a punishment, or just the time's up, supposed to live for a certain amount of years. But a person gives charity tzedakah tatzal mimavas. Where he gives a story about Rabbi Akiva's daughter, who was Akala. She was getting married that day, and then the house was very busy with getting ready for the wedding, and there was a knock on the door, and everybody's too busy to answer the sheet. Akala went to the door. What happened was that the night of the wedding, she came back, as a understanding how the story came about. The Kalas used to wear a crown, and the crown had metal sharp pieces to it sticking out on the crown the Kala used to wear. So she came from the wedding, and she took off her crown and put it into there was a compartment in the wall where she put it down, and next day she pulled it out. There was a snake that was stuck at the end of the sharp spike of the crown that she wore. She put it into that compartment. There was a snake there, and the sharp part of the crown went at the snake, killed the snake. So she went to her father and said, look at what happened. I had my crown as a collar, and I put that was a snake. He said to her, what did you do yesterday? That means a snake was there. It was a poisonous snake. Poison was supposed to bite you and kill you. And you went ahead and put your crown there, you killed the snake. You must have done something very special to save you. So she said, yes, yesterday, when everybody was busy for the wedding, and this poor person knocked on the door, nobody was taking care, they're too busy. I went to the door, and he asked me for some food, like Amos of food. Oh, so give us a, that's what saves it. By giving charity, it saves people from death. They showed her Shemayim, in heaven they showed her, you did that act of you're the collar, you're the center of attraction, and you took off time to take care of the honey of the poor person, therefore you merit your life being saved. So we have to think about that. Comes to giving money, charity is one of the hardest mitzvahs to do because people love money. It's hard to part with their money. And a person giving charity, they have to go against their natural feelings and take the money from their pocket and give it away. And that's one of the hardest things for people to do, especially hard-earned money, if they work hard for it, and to give some of it away, that's the hardest thing for us to do. And therefore a person gets a lot of reward for giving charity, because it's something that is against the person's nature to give charity. He likes to keep it for himself. And therefore we say, tzedakah tatzil memavos. That's what tzedakah is such a hard mitzvah to accomplish, to act, to do. So therefore, the reward is very, very great. So we have to keep in mind, if we're asked to help people who are in need, we should do our best to help them, because one of the biggest mitzvahs that we can accomplish.